to the Power San Diego podcast. In this episode, I talked to Isaiah Glasoe, Dori Brueggemann, and Bill Powers from Power San Diego. We're talking about Power San Diego's pitch to San Diego voters, about why so many of us are frustrated with SDGE, and in particular, about why this fight matters so much to each one of them personally. Let's get into it.
My name is Bill Powers. I am the campaign chair of the Power San Diego Public Power Ballot Initiative. I'm a professional engineer by trade with the background in power systems.
I'm Dori. I am the campaign manager for Power San Diego.
And Bill, I know your background is in solar, is that right?
It's in power generation generally, but in recent years it focused on solar and battery storage.
And Dori, what about you?
Yeah, I have a background in some campaigning. This is actually my third campaign cycle that I've worked on. So I've been a field organizer, I've been a campaign coordinator, and now I have ascended to a senior campaign coordinator, campaign manager, and this is kind of my first time doing this level of coordination.
Nice. So, Dori and Bill, is this your job right now?
For
Correct.
me, why don't you go ahead, Dori, and then I can respond.
This is my full-time job. I am a full-time staffer for the campaign.
And I have put my business on hold as this campaign rolls along to dedicate 100% of my time to this.
All right. Imagining like we're outside a grocery store, we're at a farmer's market. What's your pitch?
When you're out in the field, the pitch is simple. Really, you're just asking people, do you want to fire SDGE? That's kind of your hook, to get people in the door. People are pretty mad at SDGE. There's definitely a lot of energy of anger against them. So that gets their attention. And a lot of times people just want to sign. That's really all you're doing, is letting them know that we're trying to do something about SDGE and we're trying to put it on the ballot and they want to sign. But definitely the opener for a lot of people is we are trying to replace SDG&E with a not-for-profit, publicly owned utility that is going to have lower rates and that is going to focus on local power generation and storage.
Why are people mad at SDG&E?
People have a lot of reasons to be mad at SDG&E. The reason that's at the forefront of most people's mind is simply the rates. We are paying some of the highest rates in the country here in San Diego. Rates have been increasing 10% yearly for many years now, and they are projected to continue to increase 10% yearly for the foreseeable future. People see how high their bills are. They see that their bills are high even when they're not home. They're confused about it, and they're angry about it. Their utility bills right now are the second highest expense that they're paying, just behind rent and mortgage.
I think that SDG&E customers also just feel powerless, meaning this keeps happening to them and they have no mechanism to change their fate. I think that is a kind of an existential backdrop to all of this.
Any other reasons you want to get out there?
Well, there are additional specific reasons that, for example, rooftop solar, customer-owned rooftop solar is very popular in the San Diego area. We lead the state, and our state leads the nation in rooftop solar additions. And SDG&E has just relentlessly fought rooftop solar, and at least has temporarily gained the upper hand by getting through a tariff at the California Public Utilities Commission, which has just gutted the industry. And, a lot of our future plans for our youth in the San Diego area is, hey, a great green job, putting solar panels on rooftops. Let's do it. Just as the utilities in cahoots with the California Public Utilities Commission pulls the rug out from under us. And then another issue that has got SDG&E's signature on it, which is riling everyone up, is these income graduated fixed charges, where depending on how much money you make, you will pay more or less in a fixed charge on your monthly bill. That particular fixed charge scheme selectively hits existing rooftop solar owners hardest. They don't pay that fee at this point, and they will now. It'll be baked into a non-solar customer's rates, but it's just this relentless undercutting of any kind of customer autonomy that is also a factor.
Awesome. Thank you. I want to know, and Dori, I'll start with you. Why is this important to you?
Well, I am an activist at heart. And to me, public power in general is a movement that represents the people and the workers and the power of our communities against corporate entities, which they don't always have to be the bad guys, but in this case, they are acting like the bad guys. They have consolidated power. And as Bill mentioned earlier, the people of San Diego, they really feel helpless against them. There's really not a lot of control that we have. There's not a lot that we can do about these rapidly rising rates, about these attacks on rooftop solar, the fact that at this point, the for-profit utilities are really getting in the way of meeting decarbonization goals. This issue of public power is one of the most broadly sweeping issues that there is. If you care about economic justice, if you care about the environment and environmental justice, if you simply care about there being the ability to actually have competition in the market and being anti-monopoly, this is a movement that applies to a lot of people. And for me, somebody who cares a lot about economic justice and environmental justice and environmentalism, this movement of public power is a pillar in really moving those causes forward. And, I care about that also because I'm young and I care about the world. I want to grow up. Well, not grow up. I'm grown, but I am young. I want to live in a place where we have the means as a local community to do what's best for us and to take care of our environment, to take care of our people.
Thank you. Bill, what about you?
Well, I would have to echo some of Dori's reasons for pursuing this, but I know I've got engaged kind of in the activist space 25 years ago when we had our artificial energy crisis in California in 2000, 2001, the Enron GIND crisis that we had in this state. And up until that time, I really wasn't that aware of how investor-owned utilities operated, but I sure became aware then how they operated and how the profit motive was driving very bad policy and creating a crisis where none should have existed. So, I've spent years and years serving as an expert witness primarily for nonprofits before the California Public Utilities Commission. That's the regulator of San Diego Gas and Electric. And the issue has always been if the investor-owned utilities can capture the regulator, they're off to the races. They can do what they want. Well, I've been before that regulator for 25 years now, and rarely can the community, in whatever way it's represented, change the bow of the boat much from where the utility wants to go. And this effort now, since we have a city charter right to provide electric power service to the residents of the city, is really the time is now. We are not going to make substantial changes in how SDGE behaves at the California Public Utilities Commission. They have, in my feeling, they have really taken advantage of the community, and it's time for the community to just assert its basic right, is take back the provision of electric power. And frankly, Alec, there's certain things that are naturally in the public interest that shouldn't be in private hands, like the fire department, like the police department, like the water department, and like the provision of a critical commodity like electricity. It just shouldn't be in the hands of a private entity that has different motivations than looking out for the community.
That's really helpful context about what should be in public hands versus in private hands. Thank you for that.
I think Isaiah should definitely take the opportunity to share his story as well. He's born and raised in San Diego and was actually a volunteer on this campaign before he became one of our organizers on staff. And he has a really compelling story, so I'd love to give him an opportunity to share why this is important to him.
Isaiah, unmute. Go for it. Let's hear those tiles.
So yeah, I was born in San Diego. I grew up here, and as a young adult, I've worked in San Diego. And I have this general perception. I feel like a lot of people have this perception too, is that something is wrong here. The cost of living is skyrocketing, rents skyrocketing, the cost of food skyrocketing, and it's like electricity ties all these things together. the price of food is tied to electricity. The price of construction is tied to electricity. The least to mention is your utility bill, right? And I see that like an electrical grid is a natural monopoly. There's no way, we're going to have two sets of wires to have options for which distribution utility we want. It doesn't make any feasible sense. And the motives behind the governance of a natural monopoly should not be in the interest of shareholders. Our distribution utility should be in the interest of San Diegans. And by firing SDGE and replacing them with a not-for-profit utility, we'd have cascading effects. The immediate direct benefit to San Diegans is their utility bill, but it would be a big step in like reducing the cost of living overall as well.
Thank you so much for listening. This episode is brought to you by Power San Diego. We're working to get a measure onto this year's ballot that will take San Diego's gas and electricity out of the hands of shareholders and put it into the hands of you and me. The people who live in San Diego. It'll lower our energy rates, which are among the highest in the country. It'll also make it possible for us to keep leading the country in solar so the city can get to net zero carbon emissions. We're stoked about this, but we need your help. The quickest, simplest, and most important thing you can do is sign a petition to get this ballot initiative onto the ballot. Right now, there's nothing this campaign needs more than signatures. To find out where and when folks are collecting signatures, head over to the website wearepowersandiego.com and go to the Events tab. Even better, you can sign up to volunteer and collect signatures yourself. Even if you just get signatures from your friends and family, every little bit helps. We've got a link to the website and a bunch of other useful links in the show notes. And our theme music is Canticle of the Sun by local band Church Surf. Check them out.